to the things that'll bring the trauma. Overseas, yeah, we trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. But if you only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate. And to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Yeah, madness is what you demonstrate. And that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love just to set it straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to the love, y'all.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach and would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
It just ain't the same, always in change. New days are strange, is the world insane? If love and peace is so strong, why are the pieces of love that don't belong? Nations dropping bombs, chemical gases filling lungs of little ones with ongoing suffering as the youth are young. So ask yourself, is the loving really gone? So I could ask myself, really what is going wrong in this world that we living in? People keep on giving in, making wrong decisions, only visions of them dividends. Not respecting each other, denying thy brother. A war's going on, but the reason's undercover. The truth is kept secret, it's swept under the rug. If you never know truth, then you never know love. What's the love, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the truth, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the love, y'all?
People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach and would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
I feel the weight of the world on my shoulder. As I'm getting older, your people get colder. Most of us only care about money making. Selfishness got us following the wrong direction. Wrong information always shown by the media. Negative images is the main criteria. Infecting the young minds faster than bacteria. Kids wanna act like what they see in the cinema. Yeah. Whatever happened to the values of humanity? Whatever happened to the fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down. It's no wonder why sometimes I'm feeling under. Gotta keep my faith alive till love is found. Now ask yourself,
Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love?
sing with me, y'all.
One world, we only got one world. That's all we got. One world. And something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with the world. Yeah, we only got one world. That's all we got. One world.
Hello. Welcome to Ramona Speaks, The Other Truth. Tonight, I will be discussing child marriage in the U.S. For all of you that are so anti-abortion, there is a problem right here in the U.S. with living, breathing children that are being married off at the age of 12. And it is sanctioned by state laws. And that's what we need to pay attention to, try to get these laws overturned. I'm just really pissed off about this whole thing. Also, I'll be discussing big businesses that have still continued to take their businesses overseas. So, you know, it's not about immigrants coming into this country taking over your jobs. it's about these corporations wanting better tax breaks that are moving out of this country, thereby leaving you without jobs. So, welcome to the show. I'm Ramona. I am living in Texas, and I have a lot to say about a lot of things that's going on that has pissed me off within this past year. And I'm looking forward to a better year. Uh, I hope if people get their wits together and start working together as a collective instead of constantly trying to be divisive among each other when we're all in this shit boat the same. We are in the same boat. We want the same things. There is no divisiveness among Americans. There should never be, because push comes to shove, if somebody comes on these lands and want to fight, you're going to want every able-bodied person to stand up and defend us. I'm sure you're not going to pick and choose who's going to be fighting by your side. So why be picking and choosing who's living next to you, who's working by your side? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's go to child marriages. There are at least 40 states in this country that sanction child marriages with the okay from the parents or a judicial waiver. Each state, territory, and federal district sets the marriage age in its jurisdictions. As of July 1st, 2019, in 13 states, there was no statutory minimum age when all exemptions were taken into account. These states were California, Idaho, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Washington, West Virginia, and Wyoming. And as of August 2020, 4 states and territories have banned underage marriage with no exception, and that is New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, American Samoa, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. United States territories have also ended child marriage in that time. Several other U.S. states have similar legislation pending. Now, between 2000 and 2015, over 200,000 minors were legally married in the United States, or roughly 6 children per 1,000. The vast majority of child marriages in the U.S. were between a minor girl and an adult man. Most minors married were girls. In many cases, minors in the U.S. may be married when they are under the age of sexual consent, which is 16 to 18 for most states. And in some states, minors cannot legally divorce, leave their spouse, or enter a shelter to escape abuse. Now think about that. Some states, minors cannot legally divorce, leave their spouse, or enter a shelter to escape abuse. I find that just utterly disgusting. Historically, child marriage has been a culturally acceptable practice, but today it is increasingly viewed as a form of child sexual abuse. Some international agencies, including the U.S. State Department, have declared it a human rights violation, and yet it exists here in the United States. There's something wrong with this picture. Something seriously wrong with this picture. Some researchers have concluded that there are consequences child marriages. Along with the threat of sexual abuse, children may be subject to decreased education, early pregnancies, and psychological trauma. I mean, duh. What would you expect? You have a 12-year-old child or a 14-year-old child married to some 40-year-old man? Just the thought of it is traumatizing to me. You know, that was fine, I guess, in ancient and medieval civilizations, because it was a regular practice to give girls away and married as soon as they reached puberty, if not earlier. But we're talking about the 21st century here. And I sit back and, you know, when you think about that, and I'm sitting back thinking, here are these people out there protesting against anti-abortion, and they're worried about a fetus, and yet there are living, breathing children that are being subjected daily to legalize pedophilia. And there's not, I don't hear any contention out there regarding that. I mean, do you care about children or don't you care about children? I mean, are you pro-life or are you not pro-life? Because these are lives that are at stake. And something needs to be done about it. Penny, what would you say to what's going on? I mean, is this kind of ringing a bell to you?
Oh yeah,
your experiences?
it's ringing a real loud bell. Now, from my family background, my grandmother was 16 when she got married. That was my dad's mom, and she was 16 and he was 24. Her sisters were 13 and 14 when they got married, and their husbands were also in their 20s. And this was the norm in Arkansas in the 1930s. This was normal and to be expected behavior. And today we're calling it child marriage. And the trouble we've got here is there is a religious tradition of women being property. So once you reach a stage where that you are attractive to adult males, even sick ones, then you become a property rather than a child. I know adult women who are younger than I am, whose families were in debt and literally sold the daughter to pay the debt.
Yeah.
And these women that I know they went catatonic. They have had problems. They've had problems where they were required to seek psychiatric help in order to keep their children, because they had the audacity to divorce these men. This is an ongoing problem. Women today, the young women, they do not understand that we were property until the Supreme Court said in 1982 that adult women were adult human beings with rights. I remember in 73, when I got out of high school, I was still considered my father's property. I could not get a bank account without his signature. I could not get a job without his permission. This is something that I mentioned in the last show with Eric, is that things changed so dramatically between 1973 and 2000. My personal feminism is, I'm nobody's property. I'm a person. I have rights. And I don't see how any female person is anything but a person. And yet the major religions on our planet all teach that women are property. Some of them teach that women don't even have souls. So if you're just a body and you don't have a soul, the men will abuse that.
Yes,
Now
it
they tell me how much they love us and respect us. And yet if you look at the statistics from the group is Women Hold Half the Sky, you have entire regions of the world that they kill baby girls for not being boys.
Yeah.
It's almost a third of the planet subjects baby girls to this. So if they're willing to kill us when we're born or before we're born, and we're watching them marry us off, some of these cultures as young as 9 years old, and I don't know about you, but to me a 9-year-old's a child.
Yeah.
And having sex with a 9-year-old is pedophilia.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for that to be legal anywhere.
It's shameful.
And part of the issue that we're having is that that particular religious group is pushing their right to marry a 9-year-old in the United States under the guise of religious freedom.
Mm.
So
that's ridiculous, because there is no singular justification for child marriage. You know, some marry in accordance with the religious or cultural traditions. Others do so to avoid legal ramifications of sexual activities with minor. In other words, a get out of jail free card, because now they're married.
Some of it's a get out of jail free card, and others, I have been told that it is when girls reach puberty that they fight with their mothers, and they go, unless they're trapped, that they go promiscuous, and that marrying them off at puberty is the prevention for this. And all it does is it takes a child and puts them in an adult situation without the maturity or the background to be able to do it. And then these men wonder why these women go crazy on them. Now, in my experience, sex before you're an adult or sex when you're not really willing is the leading cause of creating people with alters.
Yeah.
Outside of the black ops, if you see someone who has alters, they were sexually abused before the age of 7. Now, some of these people, they're really pushing the envelope with these marriages. They're going to create children with alters who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think with
there are serious psychological consequences to this. And then you have the situation of you have young children, 12, 13 years old, and I'm seeing girls starting to menstruate at 9, so they can get pregnant then.
Oh, yeah.
So you're having 9, 10-year-old girls pregnant with babies, and they've been pulled away from their own mothers. They don't know what they're doing. What's going to happen to those babies? And you support this and you say, I'm pro-life. You know, I don't like abortion. I don't like that abortion has been applied to minority communities more than white ones. Right. I don't like that it's being used to limit the population in other countries. I don't like it. Yeah. But I look at what's happening to people, and that's just as wrong.
Yeah.
There has to be more respect for human beings above, I should say, all genders. Okay, we have a lot of people who are affected by contaminants in the environment and are having problems with that affecting their hormone balances. So there are real medical issues behind a lot of what people are bitching about. But at the same time, we have a situation where we have a lot of gender fluid people, and those people are also being forced into marriage because someone raped them.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's avoiding the negative stigmas associated with premarital sex and teen pregnancy. So by
Well,
arranging the marriage of these minors, typically the girls who have been involved in sex before marriage, the family is often able to save face and maintain respect within their community, which is
well, I don't think that matters much anymore. At least not in California. We have the majority of our children are born out of wedlock now. The majority of our children are being raised by a single mother or her parents, if they're still together.
if they're still together.
So we have the complete breakdown of the American family. There's marriage doesn't matter. Legitimacy of the children doesn't matter. And some of these families are literally selling their girls to pay their debts. So we have a extreme situation. And the trafficking of children is a continuum. It's not just the marriage problem. It starts with the adrenochrome trade and goes through the marriage problem and through the people that are picked up for the black ops and through people that are picked up for the sex trade. The sex trade. And it's worldwide. It's not just America.
Right.
But people need to understand that it is a lot worse here than people are saying it is.
That's right.
And I've been listening to the Q people, I'll name names, the QAnon people think that it's all happening in these deep underground caves and that they're being bombed and that all these babies are being rescued and you've got 40,000 children. Well, my question to them is, where the hell are the kids?
Yeah.
If you had 40,000 kids being rescued from deep underground military bases where they were being used for adrenochrome or sex trade, come on. You would be having foster parents. You would be having people, jobs would be opening.
Yeah.
These kids would have to be placed somewhere. Where are they? I'm not seeing them.
Exactly.
All I'm seeing is a bunch of people ranting and raving and doing nothing.
Doing absolutely nothing. There was an article that I read that said that 87% of the total minors who got married in 2000 to 2015 were girls, and that it's higher among the girls than among the boys, like a 6.8 versus 5.7 per thousand. Mm-hmm. And most of the available statistics and literature on child marriages examine, female minors as opposed to male minors, but it's being done with them too.
It's not good for either gender.
No.
They're children. They should be kept in a situation of they are being taught to be adults. They are to be protected against predators during that time. Exactly. And what's happening is instead their families are giving them over to the predators.
Yeah, they are. And the highest incidence.
They are failing at their fucking job.
Yeah. And the highest incidences are in West Virginia. Oh, that's Mitch McConnell's state. No, I'm just kidding.
You expected better of him?
No, he's
Although Kentucky, to be honest, the federal government has no control over what the state does. So he's really not responsible for that.
Right. But he's from Kentucky. I was just being nasty. But Florida, Texas, Nevada, Oklahoma, Arkansas, California, Tennessee, and North Carolina.
I don't know what it is with California, because our law is that you have to be 16 to get married without a court order.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
16, well, our age of consent for sex is 18, but you can get married at 16 with a court order or the signed
Parental
parental
signatures.
consent.
Yeah.
Before 16, it's not legal. And yet, I know when I lived in Fresno, I lived on the edge of the Hmong community, and they were, once a girl hit 12 years old, they would pretty her up, spend thousands of dollars on her velvet outfit, and then take her to the festival, and they would sell her to some old fart in his 40s.
Yeah.
That was their cultural expectation. And that man could have as many as 4 wives, but he had to put each one in a separate house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was going on in Fresno in the 1980s.
And still today, I mean, like Texas had from 2000 to 2014, almost 40,000 children were married. 40,000 children. In Florida, legally married. In Florida, 16,400 children, some as young as 13 were married between 2000 and 2017.
I've heard of situations with some of these cult-like fundamentalist Christian groups, and I was raised in one. So I've heard of them where that the pastor would be molesting a girl as young as 9-10 years old, and so they would marry the girl to him so that he wouldn't be charged.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm surprised that they took that fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints guy that had the compound here in Texas.
Oh, yeah,
And
I remember that.
he was marrying them as young as 8, 9.
Yeah.
You know, and it went on for I don't know how long.
Didn't he end up doing jail time for that?
Yeah, he's in prison now, but I'm not sure what he's in prison for exactly, because in the state of Texas, if their parents okayed the marriage, it was legal.
The marriages were legal, but he was a bigamist.
Yeah.
Bigamy is illegal.
Oh, that's the problem. Oh,
he had more than one.
Yeah, not the fact that they were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Man, what a country.
Well, I've had, I'll put it bluntly, I've had shitheads tell me that young girls are sexier and that we older women are just jealous.
Oh, yeah. Or they use the excuse that, you know, the virgins, like in other countries, the virgins, they know they don't have AIDS or any diseases, and that's their justification for it. It's all a bunch of bull, actually. To me, it's just legalized ways for a pedophile to get what they want. And then too, with all the attention being brought against the pedophile rings and child trafficking situations, you know, now they can do it legally and do it with their wives, you know, put their wives and husbands out there legally. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And
oh, I agree. To me, it looks like the complete collapse of any moral authority at all. And
if there ever was any.
I've been living with a man for 20 years without benefit of clergy. So I'm being honest. I'm living that lifestyle, but we live monogamous, and everybody, you know, we were too old to have kids, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had already been married and divorced twice, and both husbands had tried to kill me. So if the first one had not tried to kill me, I'd probably still be with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Now just
So,
imagine
and
a child being
I,
married to someone like that.
yeah, a lot of a lot of these kids that are getting married that young, the marriages are failing. They're ending up with no resources because they have no standing in court because they're minors when they're trying to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And their families won't help them because that's disgracing the family that they're divorced. I caught all kinds of hell with my first divorce, and he had tried to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he broke my neck. That's why I have to get epidurals every so often, is because of the neck injury he gave me. He's lucky I didn't die. He would have been in prison today.
And you stop and think about it. Like in Alabama, there were over 8,600 child marriages between 2000 and 2015, the fourth highest. But the good news is that child marriage in Alabama has started to decline. At from the almost 1,200 children married a year, it's dropped down to 190. That's
Well,
good to
folks
know.
are going to get upset at me, but that strip of Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, those are some of the most backward places in our country.
Yeah.
They are at the bottom on almost every measure of civilized, intelligent behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
then
those people are so religious, and yet they have the highest gay porn rates. They have the highest child pregnancy rates, because they refuse to look at the situation. They have some of the lowest test scores because they don't care if you drop out. They're just fine if girls get married at 12, 13. And yet these are the same people who are screaming about deep underground mines full of children being raped. And it's like, come on, people, get your act together. Be consistent at least. If you're going to care about kids, care about kids. Care about all of them.
Yeah. And then those are the ones that actually got married. We don't know the ones that were just sold off.
Oh, there are
Yes.
thousands of kids, maybe even millions of kids in just the United States.
Yes.
Who are trafficked.
Yeah. And people, they need to open their eyes and pay attention. Pay attention, because I'm out in the country and I'm aware, most people have been here for 20 years or more. And then you get like, there's a place where there's like 17 trailers on 9 acres of land.
That's a family compound now. You have to wonder what kind of family.
And, you very seldom see people coming and going, but there's always cars out there. And, the school buses stop and pick up maybe 2 kids, drop those same 2 kids off. But, I have seen like women walking the neighborhoods with toddlers and stuff, but you never see them.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, it's not like being paranoid, but I'm wondering what's going on there. Because one, that's illegal. They're not supposed to have that many on there, because this was a gated community, and the land was made that every 2 acres there would be one home on it.
Okay, so they had a space zoning.
No, they're all clumped together.
So,
that because the housing association kind of just fell by the wayside. And once that happened, along with illegal activities going on down in the assessor's office and stuff like that, a particular person is able to buy up this land, and then he puts like all these.
We have someone like that in my county. He buys up land that's up for tax auction, and he installs very substandard housing, usually
Yep.
mobiles, and he rents them to homeless people.
Mm.
And then he doesn't pay the water bill. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And see, and we're on well water. So you have that.
We
many,
have water rationing here anyway.
and we've had plenty of water, but I wonder, like,
Back
because
to the
this
mic.
is backwoods, streets is hidden, everybody pretty much is, to themselves. But it's just suspect with the knowledge of human trafficking and stuff, especially coming from certain countries. You really pay attention. I do.
Well, I would pay more attention to older man, very young woman with a string of little kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I would pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you see the man going from trailer to trailer, you don't really have an excuse. And if you don't see the woman outside with bruises, or
you barely see them outside, period. I never
don't
see
go
them
outside
leaving or
much.
coming. I
don't go outside much, but I have a form of lupus where the sunlight makes me go into a rash. So my neighbors rarely see me, and when they do, it's like, pennies out.
Yeah. It's just that I think as a community across the nation, that's where focus should be on.
Well, the district attorneys in rural counties in California for the last, I'd say, 2.5 decades. So we're talking 25 years or so. The rural county district attorneys have been enforcing that age of consent. So where I live, if a man in his mid-20s or older is with a girl 16 or younger, he's usually prosecuted.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of the state. In Fresno, they weren't. So the cities, okay, in California, people think we're one big monolith. We're not. We are coastal cities and then everybody else. And the bigger the city, the more weird they are. And the rest of us are still pretty conservative and live conservative, even if we're not, we do have more tolerance for other people than other states do, because nobody has a majority. Nobody is the majority, so nobody has a monopoly on power, and everybody has to get along. And that makes a big difference because it makes us more tolerant. But at the same time, we look at some of these things, and there are things that we as Californians consider to be disgusting. And I know the rest of the country isn't going to believe that at all. But at least where I live, certain polygamy is not acceptable here. Abusing children is not acceptable. Um, Pedophilia is not acceptable here. Um, we don't talk about a lot of the other things that are legal, but those things are like, man, dude, no way.
What is this? What is this with this law that a lot of right wingers are spouting about California's Governor Newsom changing some law that makes it illegal for uh, a person to have sex with a child or someone younger than them within a certain age group. They cannot be tried for statutory rape.
That was related to the gay community.
Oh.
Governor Newsom is gay.
Oh.
Openly.
Oh.
Always has been. And that was simply to do with the gay community, that same-sex individuals could have sex without worrying about statutory rape laws as long as both parties were within 5 years of each other.
Okay. So that's what that's about.
That's what that's about. It was about kids exploring, and they were ending up in prison. We also have a law that is about stopping trafficking, where that child prostitutes are considered to be trafficking victims rather than criminals.
Criminals.
And that is so they will not be charged, and they can testify against their pimps and whoever else is trafficking them, and walk away without jail time.
Wow.
And the country at large has misinterpreted that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the way it was being put out there was, it was open for pedophiles to
no.
Yeah.
It was making the assumption that anyone under the age of consent was being trafficked rather than being a criminal. Okay. That they were victims. That's why I'm so surprised that we have so many underage getting married. Although when my parents got married, they were 16 and 19, and that was in the 50s.
Here's the weird thing. Back to the marriages, the study found that only, now this raises my eyebrow, that only 20% of the married children were actually living with their spouses. The majority of the rest were living with their parents.
Well, that's like, okay, in the old countries, that would have been considered a betrothal, that you go through the ceremony and your family continues to raise you until you are legal age of consent, and then you go to your husband. That's another way of limiting promiscuity, is because, hey, you're married, you belong to him. And that goes back to the days of we were property.
Yeah. Which a lot of people don't really realize, that it wasn't that long ago, like you said, when we were released as being property.
We were freed in 1982. And the young women who are out there bitching and moaning about a lot of things, they really don't know how easily that could be reversed, and how many people over the whole world still consider women to be property.
That's right. Enjoy their freedom.
How insecure our rights actually are.
Yeah, they're on shaky ground.
All it takes is the right court case, and we go back to being property.
Yeah.
And right now, the Supreme Court is packed with 6 Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
That's information that people have it's just gone through, they haven't even noticed. The
Yeah.
Supreme Court is the final arbiter on a lot of things having to do with rights. And they're out of the 9, 6 of them are Roman Catholics.
Yeah. And women don't really understand. I mean, you would think that they do, because all they have to do is look around. Even in their independence, they are still being told how to look, how to dress,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and if you don't do that, you're considered unattractive. You know, they're
Yeah.
still, I mean, in so many
Oh yeah,
ways.
you have to wear makeup, you have to have your hair done, you have to have your nails done, you have to wear high
Botox,
heels.
you know,
Yeah, if you're older,
sculpting.
you have to have Botox. Um, you have to wear a bra, which I don't unless I'm on air.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'm an old woman. I don't need to wear a bra.
yeah, yeah,
And I am really thankful to Odin because he has not put any of that on me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have had other producers who had,
yeah, yeah.
and I've had other producers who told me how to dress.
Yeah.
And
They do that on to the television news anchor women. I mean, they
yeah,
just don't see it, and it's all around. You know, the fact that they wouldn't abolish these old common laws that's been around forever
but
lets you know something.
you listen to the conservatives, and they want to go back to the common law.
Yeah, they do, and the women that support it, you
The
know,
women that support it are ignorant because they don't understand that under the old common laws, they would be property and have no
and
rights
have
at
no
all.
rights.
None. They would be the
None.
property of their father, their husband,
Husbands,
their
their
son,
brothers.
and or their brothers. And if they
Yeah.
didn't have any men in their life, there would be one assigned by the court.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had no rights. You were property.
Yeah.
And this is something that women born since 1982 are completely ignorant of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's our job as the elders, the crones, to teach them better.
Yeah. Because they don't realize that not until the burning bed incident, your husband had the right to beat the crap out of you and rape you when you said no, and nothing would be done about it. And I mean, it was what, the 80s that became a law that
Yeah.
they could be charged with rape. And it was not that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago. It's 40 years.
But the
Less
women,
than our lifetime.
the grandmothers and mothers that are up there in age, see, they don't explain this to their women child.
They just tell their girl child, don't trust men.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Come on.
But
That's
they don't
not helping
tell
either.
them what all.
That's not helping either. You have to tell them, look, once you let them fuck you, they consider you trash.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be blunt. You have to tell them what the issue is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to tell them that they consider you property even if the law doesn't.
Yeah. And they're getting so comfortable. They have these corporate jobs and stuff like that. But you know, there's something blanketing this country right now. And in all of this, I mean, you think about it. In the extreme cases, like in Idaho, a 65-year-old man married a 17-year-old girl. In Alabama, a 74-year-old man married a 14-year-old girl. So the state has since raised their minimum age 16.
At
But
least that.
the youngest, there were 3 in Tennessee, 10-year-old girls who married men aged 24, 25, and 31, respectively. And the youngest boy to marry was an 11-year-old who married a 27-year-old woman in Tennessee.
And you have to wonder what she thought she was doing.
And why is this allowed and what is going on? You know, how come we are so concerned with what's going on in other countries, and yet chaos and craziness is going on in our own? We're trying to solve the problems of the world, and yet we have serious problems right here.
We have a lot of serious problems in this country, and the media
A
are
lot.
making them worse. And common sense has apparently become totally rare. And I talk to people on the regular who are so out of touch with 3D reality that I really worry for anywhere. I've had people argue with me and tell me that death isn't real because of some religious doctrine that they chose to believe. And I've had other people tell me, well, you don't have to worry about that because we're all going to ascend. And I'm like, you know, what if your ascension doesn't happen? How are the rest of us supposed to live in the meantime?
Yeah.
And I get really frustrated with this pie in the sky bullshit, and that comes from the Abrahamistic religions. That would be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And now we've got the New Age, which is basically Christianity without Jesus, tossing in that you're going to ascend. So we've got all of this pie in the sky bullshit being taught by people in the name of God. And in the meantime, you've got real people who are suffering, children mostly.
Yeah.
And you've got adults who are supposed to be taking care of and protecting those children who are actually the perps.
Yeah, harming them.
And you know, then there are people like well, I've been doing a lot of counseling with some really broken people, and I've been finding consistently that the people who are kidnapped and used in the CIA Black Ops come home, and at least half of them are then trafficked by their own parents after surviving the same things that I have. I'm thankful that my father was abusive but didn't traffic me.
Yeah,
So,
well,
small miracles. He never touched me sexually, and he never allowed anyone else to. So at least I had that blessing that I wasn't being raped at home like a lot of these people. And these are both boys and girls that are being raped at home and then trafficked to strangers. Some kids as young as 6 years old are doing 20, 30 tricks a night. They're supporting their families. And those families are supposed to be protecting those kids. You know, it's a nationwide issue. And we, as a people, we need to come together and say, whoa, this is deadly wrong, and we need to change it yesterday.
yeah. And
for
you know,
all our kids.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking, you know, I would sit back and I'd wonder, you know, what kind of women would support a man who openly disparages women on their looks, mimics people that have disabilities,
that used to be the standard white male behavior.
and
Up until about 20 years ago.
And I finally come to understand that that's what they grew up with.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
what their
normal
daddy
to
was
them.
like. That's
Yeah,
what their daddy was like.
yeah,
And so they see it as normal and admirable because their daddy loved them and he acted that way.
yeah. And that is why we need
We're
a
having to
mental cleansing for
we're
real.
having to overcome a lot of bullshit in the culture.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to take one step at a time. At the point right now, QAnon did bring up the issues of the pedophiles. So at least there is some awareness that it's a problem. So
I know,
we should be able to take that momentum and apply it to all the kids. But to be honest, I'm losing hope that they're ever going to do it. I think they're so short-sighted that they're not even seeing that there is something more.
better be careful because I'm really not. Man, children, God bless their souls. It seems like there is no one willing to truly protect them.
Well,
And
when my kids were little, I told them they could trust the clergyman. I told them they could trust the police. I told them they could trust the fire department. You can't trust any of them now.
no, you can't. You
You know,
can't.
who if a child is walking home from school and someone's after them, who the hell do you tell that kid they can go to and be safe?
Exactly.
There's nobody.
There's
We
no.
are at that point as a society. But you arm that child, and they're expelled from school.
Yeah.
You keep them home all the time and homeschool them. They never learn to get along with their peers, and
And I
that they don't ever network to be able to have a life later on.
and I'm
So
wondering, because of all the craziness now with children, I mean, their souls and spirits are so fragile, and they're such they are in total danger every which. I can't imagine being a child in this. I can't imagine being afraid to go to school not knowing if it's going to be shot up. But they're acting out or have been damaged or something in such a way that they've just given up.
well, we had a neighbor family because I live in an apartment complex, so I'm around younger people. We had a family here that they had several grown children, and their last one in the nest was going to be a senior in high school this fall, and he was murdered during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a really good kid. And they finally found the guy that killed him, and this other person is on trial, and he's not even 18. You know, there's something wrong when you have children killing children.
Yeah.
You know, and I left the big towns in the valley to come up here when my kids were in high school because I wanted them away from the gangs. I wanted them away from the killing. I wanted them to be able to live in peace. And it took literally going in. Okay, where I live, it's like stepping back 50 years.
Wow.
And it took going back 50 years in time and 200 miles to be able to find some place where it was safe for a kid to be a kid.
Yeah.
And
Safety
all
for
these people that live in big cities, I'm like, what the hell are you doing to your children? You know, you're at work all day. Those kids have nobody they can go to.
no one.
And I know how insecure I felt as a child. Times I would come home from school on the bus and mom and dad would be gone because they got caught in traffic or something, and we would be home by ourselves. I know how insecure that made me feel. How do these kids feel that they come home to that every day?
Yeah.
And what if somebody's been following them? Because traffickers love those kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can spot them a mile away. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
spot a troubled child.
You can
You know?
spot a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I did housekeeping and home health care. And some of these people had kids, and you could tell the developmental issues in the child from the age that mama went back to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've got, what is it, 2 generations now of mama's been at work? So you've got kids that are already messed up because mama's not home. And you've already got these kids are messed up because there's no security there. And then you've got these predators on top of them.
Yep.
And there's no safe place for them to go.
Nope.
Because the police are just as bad as the perps. The fire department is just as bad as the police. And the clergy are the perps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the hell are you supposed to do? You know, you could sit home in your apartment with your children and homeschool them and never let them see the light of day, but then you're messing with their futures.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
Yeah, so it's how do we stop this? How do we stop this shit?
I don't know.
I'm thinking most of it's religion based. Because religion views women as property.
And it's sad. It really, oh my God, it is so sad. And you know, if people can forget about chasing fake ballots around and stuff like that, you know, write your congressman and tell them, you know, to have these child marriage laws overturned, repealed, get them off the books.
These child marriage laws are at the state level. Writing to Congress can't do anything about it because they can only vote on things that cross state lines. So what you need to do is write to your legislature.
Do something.
Write to your legislature, write to your governor. Do you know how we got abortion legal in California in 1972? The pro-abortion people paraded pregnant 12-year-olds in front of our governor month after month until he finally said okay.
Wow. I don't even remember that.
That was in 72.
That's the year after I graduated high school.
California had legal abortion a year before the country did because of the pro-abortion people took pregnant 12-year-olds and paraded them in front of the governor.
Oh.
So what's it going to take? Is it going to take married children with 2 or 3 kids of their own being paraded before the state legislature before these people understand the depth of the problem?
You know, I don't know, but stop and think about it. If in one state there were 40,000 of these kids between a certain time, those kids are adults now, damaged.
Yeah. Permanently damaged. Even if
adults
who permanently damaged
kids,
adults
who have kids
and think this is normal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they survived it and they're fine.
Yeah.
They're not, but they don't know any different.
Yeah.
That's one thing about me. I know I'm fucked up.
You know. Oh my God, I don't know. Daryl on, is he around? 'Cause I could
Daryl,
pray.
Katie,
But just people, if you're living in a state where this is legal, please
Hey.
try to do something about it, because this is just disgraceful. This shouldn't be allowed. And forget about fake ballots and this and that, and trying to keep a nut in the office, and go and do some real good. Protect the children. Figure out ways to protect the kids, because
do
they
what
have
matters
nobody.
because the pedophiles will never be tried in court, and if they are, they'll never be convicted.
No, I mean, look at how long Giselle has been sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
just going through the bail stage.
Yeah.
Nothing else, just the bail. All this time, it's still just the bail. Trying to get bail so she can get out of the country.
Yeah, it's I was thinking about all those topics y'all been talking about, and I've been listening, and I'm like, I got kind of grossed out. I ain't gonna lie. I got kind of upset to hear that there are states out there that allow you to marry 12-year-olds.
Or younger.
Yeah. Yeah, the youngest one that they found was 9 years old to a 20-something-year-old person. That's ridiculous. What do you think is really going on there?
I think people are crazy. I think this insanity has been going on for decades, and no one took notice of it until currently.
Or maybe they're so used to it because and it's predominantly these red states that's life.
Well,
That's life. That's okay. See, they can turn their eyes against that.
Well, I told you that my grandma's sisters were 13 and 14 when they got married.
Yeah,
Is
it's
California a red state? Is California a red state?
No, I said most of them are red states.
Florida wasn't red.
My grandma and her sisters were in Arkansas, and it's a red state.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Arkansas is kind of special. I mean, y'all did
Texas.
Y'all did have Bill Clinton, who got impeached in his own state as governor. But
I live in California, but my grandma and her sisters came from Arkansas.
Yeah, but you also have to remember something.
Alabama.
It's not the federal government that runs the states.
Right.
It's your
the
governors.
States.
So don't blame red or black or orange or green. I mean, come on, adjectives out.
Well,
the way.
that's how our president refers to them.
Well, the state legislature is who has the final say about the marriages. And
it's
so
all your
if
governor.
you want this changed, contact your state representative in your legislature. Put the heat on them.
And I'm going to say
and
it again.
It doesn't hurt if you have money to back it up, because that's what they listen to.
Of course, just like D.C., they're not going to lock it down until after the election. But Maryland and Virginia are locked down to level 1. Excuse me, but D.C. is wide open. Well, can you tell me what's wrong with that? Oh, hold on. That's a blue state.
My county is on lockdown level 3.
Well, hold on. The city,
and
the capital.
We've had 15 people. 15 people die in 8 months, and we still have level 3 lockdown.
Maybe that's to keep people from the big cities from coming through there, because generally that's how it seems to be. We had a Houston food bank sent trucks out to people, and they stopped it, because the truck driver coming in from Houston had contracted COVID.
Aww.
And,
so then you've got a lot of people hungry and exposed to the bug.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was gonna say, is he dead?
I
But
don't
I'm
know.
at the point now where I just don't care. Honestly,
I don't know.
I just don't care. I'm tired of everybody putting everything on presidency when it's your governors that are doing every damn thing there is.
Yeah, well, I
The
knew this
federal
was the
government has
local
not the federal
legislature.
government has not done shit for no state to no state. In fact, the law was you governors run your states, but you want to put it on the president. Okay, go ahead. Blame them for your rising taxes and your cigarettes too, like they do here in D.C. But they won't blame the mayor that made the law. I mean, come on.
Oh, we blame Newsom for a lot of things.
No,
Trust me.
Newsom.
We've been trying.
Yeah,
You got the
We've
triad.
been
and we
trying
know,
to
and we know
impeach him.
Ted Cruz and uh, Abbott are guilty of a lot of things. We need to get them out.
Well, no one's doing it.
You know.
No one's doing it. It's the old boys network. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. Your votes don't count. Have you learned that yet?
It's the good old boys. You
It's
know,
the good old boys or the
run
machine.
this country into the ground.
The machine in some states or cities is what they call it. But yeah, it's
Yeah, where is the love? Anybody can tell me where it is? I've lost it. It was down the street at one point. Then I saw it swinging over to the other side. Where is the love? Everybody blames everybody and everything there is out there in the world, but not one damn person said the governor.
Oh, we do here in Texas. We're very well aware of Abbott.
We have had 3 petitions go around to impeach or otherwise get rid of Newsom.
It ain't gonna happen.
Our state Secretary of State has refused to accept the petitions.
Oh no, you forgot. Aunties in the Senate, I mean in Congress, you know. The aunties in Congress.
Yeah, well, we know that too.
Let's try this. Let's see how many family members are in Congress. We got her. We got one of her cousins that's in Congress. You got 3 step representatives for the state of California.
Well, there's a lot of nepotism in
really?
the federal government.
No, we talking about Congress.
You've got families that this is the family business.
Yes.
Exactly.
They have money, and these families, this has been the family business since before they came to America.
Exactly.
And I know because I'm from one of those families, although I'm one of the ones that they booted out years ago. So.
Ain't that funny? But now we're talking about the state governors. I mean, we ought to do a show on all the state governors and tell what's wrong.
Yeah,
with
we
them.
should.
That would be a great show. I mean, for some reason everybody wants to blame everything on the president, but
Because then I'm thinking,
he
okay,
ain't
so
making no laws for real.
since everything falls on the governor, what do we need the president for?
Really?
Why don't we just have a council?
Really?
If
We have
need.
the president to lead the military.
That's the only thing he does. Lead the military, and he's a giant secretary. So what does the president do, really? But you blame him, but you just blame him for everything in the world. But what does he do? Dictate national
personally,
dictate international policy. That's it.
He's done
International policy. That's all he does. He's a secretary. And he
Pretty
controls
much,
the military. That's it.
I've always considered them puppets.
And we haven't had no war.
Yes.
And we have had no war to go to in the past 4
Well,
years.
we've had no new wars.
We haven't had a war.
We're still in the ongoing old wars, but we've had no new wars.
Right. But hold on. So we got an overrated secretary as a president of the United States, but everybody blames him for every damn thing there is, including the rise in price in their shoelaces.
Did you find my music yet?
I got music. I got Words to Love.
I want my break music. I need a break.
What's your break music, girl? What's your break?
Play anything.
Play anything. Oh, okay. I know that song.
You could play mine.
All right. How about this? Let's do a little mix off. Yeah.
Your choice, Daryl. Your choice as producer.
The light.
Well, this is gonna be good. You're gonna make me choose something.
Yeah.
She likes light. I like the fire, and she likes land of confusion. You know something? I don't
Land
know.
of Confusion is good.
All right, we go confusion. In 5, 4, rock.
And yeah, I'm a metalhead, so don't be shocked.
Well, she's confused. Don't worry about her. All right, guys, we're going for a break. So please, everybody, why don't you run up into your governor's house and beat the snot out of him? All right. They don't
Yeah,
want to
they
lock you
need it.
down. The president didn't lock you down. I mean, did anybody? I don't know where you get everybody get this bullshit out of their head from. They say the president did this. The president raised the taxes on cigarettes. President did that, and you can't even find one declaration that he did that. I mean, there's more lies than truth. All he is an overrated secretary that controls the military. What the fuck do you think what are y'all angry about?
That wants to take over
He isn't taking over nothing.
and
He's
be
not taking over
and
the
be
states.
dictator.
Nope, he's not taking over states. He's not taking over states.
Nope, he specifically said that the governors were responsible for their own states.
Y'all, no one heard that, did
Yeah.
you? So guess what? All that statement.
I heard that.
All that statement about taking over.
But then he
it's over.
did make a round table phone call telling the governors, "Don't you dare shut down.
Yes,
We
he
need
did.
it open."
We need it
So
open.
much for the governors being able to decide what they want to do.
So now I
instead
call
of
that a coup.
whatever.
I
Anyway, where's the music?
call that a coup. The governors are deciding to take over the presidency. Land of confusion. Hot damn it. We're rolling, people, because we are quite confused.
Air guitar music. Welcome back.
Well. Ah,
Welcome back.
Odin's here. I want to be your governor. Can I be your governor? Hell,
No,
I can tell. Listen, I got an idea.
you make too much sense.
No. See, if I was your governor, I'm going to hook y'all up. I'll make sure those congressmen are signing up for that $2,000 package, and I'm going to raise taxes by 20%. Ah, hell. I treat y'all nice. I treat y'all nice. I'm going to raise it by 10%. And
Our taxes are already too high.
Okay, well, no.
Because I'd like to know what we're paying for.
I know what you're paying for.
It's called graft, corruption, pork.
How about this?
You know, we're not, our schools are so underfunded.
They've been underfunded.
The educational system is just going. In Houston, they're saying there are 13,000 children missing from the school.
Blame your governor.
13,000.
Blame your governor. Hold on.
It's ridiculous.
I don't hear nobody arguing about this one. Blame your governor.
Oh,
Arguing.
about that, the governor wants to take over Houston Independent School District and let it be state run.
Oh, okay.
Might be better.
That's more money from the federal government, right?
Our governor tries not to use any federal money.
Bullshit. They get it anyway.
You know.
That's mandatory. That's a
why
right
we're
of every
taxing
state.
out the yin on every damn thing you can. Everything that breathes in the air.
Does she curse?
That's the only thing that isn't taxed.
I heard that Texas was trying to leave the union.
They can't do it.
Actually, it's in their state constitution that they can.
They can't do it.
We've been trying to change the California state constitution where we can, because we're so tired of shit.
It'll never happen.
Actually,
you got to pay that debt.
was getting really, really a long way. Except that same state version of the state of Secretary of State wouldn't accept that petition either.
Oh, by the way, can I say something? They ain't gonna do it. You know why? You owe the federal government too much money. It ain't gonna happen.
The federal government owes too much money, of which we're paying off.
No.
They have sold so much of California to the Chinese in order to pay off their debts.
Thanks, Joe.
That a lot of our asset base is now Chinese, and because of the federal treaties, it's exempt from local taxes.
That's right. Oh, but no one talks about that either.
And that's because the United States government defaulted on its payment to the Federal Reserve, which was bought. Those debts were bought by China. So, yeah.
And it wasn't during this administration it was done.
They've been paying them with California, Oregon, and Washington State.
Yeah, land. And that was not during this administration. That was during your Obama.
This has been since Clinton.
Clinton. I was going to tell you, but the big default was when they bought up 25.
Those big businesses that want tax breaks that took their stuff offshore.
Well, hold on.
Well, some of those are moving back because the people offshore are wanting more pay.
Yeah, they wanted more pay. But to be honest, you're right. It was during Clinton, and it was really hit what really hit us hard was Obama, because Obama, he allowed them to take part. Was it 50% of Hollywood and Napa Valley?
How did he allow them?
It was a deal.
It was because the United States no longer has the gold
standard
to pay off the Federal Reserve, and so in 1983, under
Clinton.
They paid in tungsten bars that had been dipped in gold, and they got caught. And then whenever it came no, it was 93, not 83. So
3.
in 2013, when it became due again, that was when they shut down the government entirely and didn't pay a cent.
Right.
And the collateral for this debt is the labor and property of the American people.
Because you know you're on the New York Stock Exchange, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew about that.
I was just making sure
You
Ramona
knew
knows.
You knew, Ramona, that you're on the stock exchange?
Yeah, you have a value. Shit.
Oh, I'm sure. Isn't that the reason why we were given Social Security numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when your parents sign on your birth certificate, they're registering you as a
piece of property.
Commodity.
Ship. You are a ship at sea.
Yep.
And that's why the commercial law applies to you.
Yeah.
So how much are you worth, Ramona, on the stock exchange? I wonder.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, you better, you could ask for a refund.
That's what I want.
Good luck with that one.
With that one. I've heard too many people say that.
Yeah,
like,
give me a refund and you can have the Social Security number back.
I think it's funny. We like I said, I was going to right down a straight line. Oh, by the way, tell your governor of Texas, thank you. He's showing me a better way to rob a state.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing real good. He ain't gonna ever leave the United States. Come on.
Here's the thing.
But y'all blame the president over that one too.
If the militia people, they want to rise up and do this and that or whatever, and whoever else wants. Okay, what is it that you are wanting to put in place of it? That's what I'm not hearing.
We want
what they're wanting to put in place is basically going back 50 years or more to the point before all of this
bullshit happened.
Overwhelming regulation came in. Back when you had more personal freedoms and you didn't have somebody in your face all the time.
God, and overtax. Like I look at the land that we have bought and paid for, paid off,
paying taxes on it,
and still paying on it. I mean, pretty soon we will pay more in taxes than we did for the freaking land.
Yeah.
Well, we had a thing back in the 80s, I think it was.
But no mineral rights.
We called it Proposition 13.
Oh, I remember that.
And it was a tax revolt.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
It limited the amount they could raise our taxes because we had elders who were living on Social Security that they were raising their taxes to the point that these people were now homeless because they couldn't pay their taxes.
Yeah.
And it was an outrageous just tax revolt. And now there's a group that wants to repeal it because they want to take even more money, only they're starting it with businesses. Well, we've lost 80% of our businesses due to the shutdown. So who the hell's going to pay that?
Hold on.
There's nobody there to pay it because the small businesses are gone. And the big businesses have all gotten tax breaks because of jobs, and then they cut jobs.
Yeah.
And then you got this new bill they want to give you to get you some of that, exemption money coming in, and 80% of it's going overseas. I'm done. Yeah. 80% of your money is going overseas, and none of it's coming to American people who, guess
exactly.
what? Oh, but hold on. It was the orange man that said he wanted $2,000 instead of $600 for you. Bleep.
Yeah. Oh, right at the very end. Right at the very end, right before New Year's.
He's been saying that since the middle of the summer, and nobody's been listening.
He's been saying it for a long time, but no one's been listening, and everybody y'all walking around with, hold on, I thought people didn't hate. I'm a Christian. I go to church. I'm
don't
Roman
like
Catholic.
him. I don't like the man as a person, but I've been listening to what he said and watching what he actually pulled off with his executive orders and when he did work with Congress. And he's been just going along the same lines as the others have been for the last 100 years. He hasn't done anything terribly outrageous. Now, he says a lot of stupid shit, but he hasn't followed through with it.
Yeah.
So he's not been any worse than the rest.
No.
And all these people who think that he's the demon.
Hasn't been better either. So.
No, he hasn't been better, but neither was Obama.
You know.
Now you want me to go to Obama?
Well, the one thing now, Obama did do something for me.
Okay.
Gave me health insurance.
Good.
Which came in quite handy.
Do you know that Obama was the one who started the drone strikes that kill American citizens in other countries without any court decision about it at all? He had a hit list of Americans overseas, and he was using drones to kill them extrajudiciously. Now, if that's not an abuse of power, I don't know what the fuck is.
I can't comment on that because I don't know.
I got this question.
So, as far as I know, every president we've ever had has had abuses of authority.
Of course.
Every president that we've ever had has been bought.
I bet
every
you
president that we have had has followed the agenda of the people who put him in power.
Of course.
At the expense of the people.
I love this.
Yeah.
All of them.
And
because once they get there, they owe so many favors for all the money that they've
and all the
donated.
All the talking points are just to keep the public upset.
I wonder how much Bloomberg's going to get.
Each other.
I wonder how much Bloomberg's going to get after this.
I don't know.
Because he put in almost $1 billion into Joe Biden. Boy, he might own Fox News and CBS by the time it's done, and every one of y'all looks stupider and stupider by the second.
I'm just, you know.
And
dumbfounded by how many people that think that
the president runs the country.
Election even matters.
I think it's funny how
I never did
that the president
because
runs
it
this
took me
country.
the longest time to even vote because nobody since Kennedy,
Kennedy
in
was
my
dirty.
opinion,
Kennedy was dirty as shit.
I don't care. I don't care. Say what you want. You know, nobody since Kennedy that has been up there in that big house has done a damn thing for people.
Hold on. That's your governor's responsibility. You still looking to the president
but
for
the
help.
laws are being made federal.
No, they're not. They're your local state laws
federal
that have to
laws, and what I'm talking about is federal. I'm talking about the taxing and everything else. The civil rights bills.
Okay.
Those aren't states. Those are federal.
State
and
bills.
That's what I'm talking about.
The federal had to override the state.
The taxes where I live are 90% of them are state.
That little small percent federal ain't shit.
We have the rest of them are mostly local taxes.
Right.
We have an 8.75 sales tax.
Hold on, we got 13.
We have almost 9 cents on the dollar that we pay in sales tax on top of everything else, and that's strictly state and local.
And don't forget your cigarette tax. Cigarette tax. And cigarette tax.
The property taxes are local. They are not state level.
And they screw you harder, don't they?
Oh my God.
Do they? Local screws you harder than the state, and then your county tax that double dips you, and then you got the school tax and the little district tax,
and the hidden fees on.
Well, hold on. None of that has to do with the presidency.
Plus, you're being taxed any money that you saved that has earned interest that you already paid taxes on.
and
And
And now
none of that
has to do with
is
the
the
president.
president's problem. The only
That's your
thing that the
state.
president affects is your federal income tax.
And that's always
yeah,
the
and those are
same.
pretty high because it used to be half.
Come on now, it's 2020. It's 2021. We're not talking 1980 no more, are we? I mean, the cost of living, prices, and actually, the taxes this year should be a lot better since that new amendment he did to it. So I think I'd rather play a flat tax.
What's the new amendment?
The flat tax?
And what's that?
Isn't it?
He did a flat tax. I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
the
I
president did a
didn't
flat
either.
tax for us all when he did the business taxes flat.
I know he put it out there, but I didn't disapprove.
Hey, I'll take the flat tax. I'd rather for everybody to pay the same amount. I mean, it doesn't hurt nobody anyway, does it? Unless you
That
take,
depends
unless
on
you're
how
not,
much
unless you're not
flat
paying
tax
taxes,
is.
unless you're not
Somebody
paying
who's
taxes.
making $5,000 a year,
Who's making 5G a year?
paying the same in
Geraldo?
taxes as somebody. I think
Well,
we
I'll
got a
put
problem.
it this way. I was below the income limit that I had to file because my money was Social Security disability. So
Oh, you
if
shouldn't pay
that
taxes.
changes,
Yours
I
is
need to
taxed out.
know.
You're taxed out, aren't you? Or you take yours and you take the tax out yourself. I wouldn't take the
Uh,
taxes out. I would let them because
It's
my ex used
Social
to do it.
Security disability is
Yeah,
considered to be like insurance.
right.
So it's not
It's not
taxable.
taxable, so you're not worried about it.
And I have no other income.
So you ain't worrying about it. It's straight cash. I mean, people need a. I mean, if you work in a job, you making. Come on now, who out there is making less than 12, 14 an hour if you're working? Oops.
Yeah, our
Okay.
minimum wage I think is $13.50.
13.50 an hour. Okay. Now just
Ours is
imagine if.
still $7 and something.
Oh, good.
in
Okay. Because
Texas.
I mean, come on. How much is your produce when you go to the store?
Well, I'll
no
tell you
one
how
wants-
much fish is because I went to buy some fish today and I spent almost $50
Oh, and how many pounds?
on about maybe 10,
Okay.
if that.
And you're
If
outside
that.
of Houston, so you didn't. I would have driven over to Galveston and got myself right off the dock and got it for maybe $40 cheaper. I used to do that. I gotta go use the bathroom. Right back, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Burger King avoided paying $270 million in taxes by moving to Canada.
Yeah, but Canada's going to tax them too.
Yeah.
What got me was Facebook moved to Ireland.
Yeah.
And
Budweiser.
Facebook moved to Ireland because of the taxes, and they found out there was so much control that they moved back to California.
They shouldn't have been able to, because they've helped raise the prices and taxes and everything else in the state by bringing their elite business out there.
Yeah, they've changed a lot of things. Silicon Valley has pretty much destroyed the Bay Area.
Medtronic, they avoided paying 42. Man, I'm just sick.
Just look at the people in Congress. How many of those have avoided paying their taxes? How many millions of dollars in taxes do they owe? And they're still collecting a federal paycheck, and they're still making laws affecting the rest of
And
them.
they're getting free medical,
They get free
where
medical.
everybody else is having to pay half of their checks on medical.
And they get a cost of living that will pay for their house in DC. Or
Yeah.
greater DC, I should say. How many of them live in Maryland and Virginia? So
It's just, I think the American people need to really, really take a good look at what's going down.
yeah, we've got a lot of shit going down, and what I see is it's all landing on the kids.
Yeah.
Because the more taxes we pay, the less money we have to take care of them. and the tax money isn't going to take care of the roads and the schools and those things. It's going to pay off corporations to supposedly come and give jobs, but how many of them are using that money
They're not. They're
to
not.
buy back stock, and they're laying people off?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a
And the
big,
and the federal money that was allocated for the small business actually went to the people who didn't even need it, the big business. None of those
it
people
went to
are
churches.
suffering because of this, whatever is going on. Not any of them,
Some of it went to churches.
you know.
There's supposed to be separation of church and state.
That's right.
What the hell are churches doing getting money from the feds?
They're not supposed to. See, all of that is what the public need. You know, they have been so brainwashed to blame each other for their situation.
Oh yeah, they'll call each other names.
Yeah.
I know I have had a good day when I get called a Trump tard and a libtard the same day. I know I'm doing something right. And I do. I get called that both the same day, at least once a week.
I just wish I could buy an island somewhere that no other human has set foot in.
Well, I like some people.
You know, but I mean,
I like
throughout-
some people.
I mean,
you
on
know, I'd like
Ramona's
to have
other
Lou along.
you know, there everywhere that the melanin challenge people have gone has not benefited the natives of that area.
That's true.
Okay, I can
And
agree.
have
I'm not arguing about that one.
and I wish I knew what kind of world this would have been had they not shown up from wherever they came from.
I'll give you an answer to
Because
that.
there were civilizations and everything else. People lived for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years, and nothing was being extinct. You know, their animals are going extinct.
Oh, that's today.
And you know, food. They've tainted the food.
Okay.
They're letting us eat. You know, people's priorities are so screwed up because here we have a federal agency that is okaying food that is poisonous to us.
Yeah. And we have a federal agency that is okaying medication that's poisonous
To us.
Now you got to
See,
look
these
at
are the things
look
we
and
need
see who's
to
in charge of
look
it.
at and start changing.
Look and see who's in charge of them.
You know,
You know, the House
this
of Representatives actually is the department that actually okays
freaking
through them.
ridiculous.
The old House of Representatives. What?
the FDA and the the Food and Drug Act
Yeah.
goes through the White House.
Yeah, it does.
It's part of the administration.
Right. But it gets
And
approval.
And he was shutting it down because they were so corrupt. Their culture was that their customer were the businesses they were working with, not the American people. And that was the rationale from the conservatives to have that taken out. The
Yes.
trouble is it was put in because 100 years ago they were putting arsenic in the
And
food.
food.
Yeah. And now they're putting I don't know
Now
what
they're
the hell you
putting
would call it.
glyphosate in it.
Monsanto. You
Well,
know, that
they
was never
are-
even tested. Was never tested, and the the Food and Drug people passed that. Ooh, almost made me
Well,
cut.
that's because in the United States we have the presumption of innocence. In Europe, they have to prove that it's safe before they let
Right.
it into food. So their food is actually safe. Ours
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah. Because our
And
people
there
up
are
there in that
whole,
White House can be bought,
well,
can be,
so
you
can
know,
they there, but
yeah, but
they have a different point of view. They say you have to be safe before you can release it, where our people go, well, prove it's dangerous, and until then we'll use it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's the
Anything
thing.
that makes a bug explode from the inside out
That's the thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That works.
is a problem for me because I'm eating that same food.
Well, you have to
Yeah.
remember something. The FDA does what it does because it has the authority to do so. And the authority comes from the United States Constitution.
Mm,
Well,
And
the
under the
FDA is not in the
Constitution,
Constitution.
but the authority is given to them from the Constitution.
Yeah, well,
A- And the
it's sublet
Constitution,
to them.
and the Constitution, there is the authority to enact laws, also called statutes. And guess who does that? Congress makes the laws,
Uh-huh.
not the
And
president.
the
Congress.
president declares that we're in a state of emergency, and then he writes executive orders. And we have been in a state of emergency ever since
They
FDR
are. Yeah.
declared it during World War II.
And it has not been lifted as of yet.
Exactly, because it gives the president the authority to write executive orders, which is unconstitutional, by the way. Yeah, and every one of them's done it since FDR.
Right. And to continue, under the Constitution, they have the authority to enact laws, which are called statutes. Congress also makes laws. The FDA is the agency that can issue regulations and guidance documents as part of the implementation of those laws.
And there's something else that y'all need to think about is treaties take precedence over the Constitution.
Oh,
And
really?
how many treaties have we signed with the United Nations?
We've signed as many treaties as we have years. All
At
of us
least.
together.
At least.
And do you know one treaty builds upon the other treaty?
Uh-huh. And we have never honored a treaty for longer than 10 years.
So, as we said again, why don't you go back and start blaming your governor, and then start blaming those presidents that signed those stupid ass treaties, like they're gonna give NAFTA. It's one that was the dumbest treaty there was. I mean, we got raped, financially raped. At least
NAFTA was definitely a rape.
it was
It
straight.
moved our manufacturing capability offshore and made it where that all we are is a military empire with no teeth. Once we are no longer the world reserve currency, we will be destroyed because we no longer have manufacturing capability on our own. And we have simply been adding digits in electronic bank accounts. We aren't even just printing money, we're just adding digits, and there's nothing to back it up.
And Congress denied us to go back to the silver standard.
Oh God.
So,
is there any silver left in the
hold on. No. At least the money, your money you hold would have a value.
Exactly. If the money were based on silver, this is what JFK was giving a currency that was backed on silver. We're old enough to remember the silver certificates.
Yes,
the kids
I
are
have
not.
one.
Yep.
Hi, Ed. Are we running into your time?
Oh my God, the great reverend is here. He's getting ready to cast out those governors. Hey, instead of fighting and destroying all the cars, why can't they all go to jail? And why
They should.
But no, they won't.
All of them.
No, they won't. You know
They
why?
won't because they gave themselves immunity. I believe it was Bush that did that.
Yes, he did. But it was also Bush that took the United States military and went in there with during the Rodney King riots in L.A. But
Hmm.
nobody wants to talk about that either, do you? But nobody, we got
Well, they
mad with
don't
that
want to
one.
talk about Penn State either.
Yeah, Kent State was a big moment in my life. My mother made me sit in front of the TV and watch it over and over and over and over again. And she said, I am so grateful that you are not 4 years older, or you would
Yeah,
be there and you would be dead.
yeah, yeah. We forget about that.
Like I said,
You
you should.
know, it's time that we really take a good look at ourselves and our government.
Well, guys,
Let's call it
I've
a
been
night.
on air for 4 hours straight.
You got a voice still? Ram-
I'm not sure the brain's connected to it anymore.
So Ramona, take us home, man, so we can get Reverend Ed up there, cause you know he got his little show called the Road to Hope. If you got some hope,
The road to
he
hope.
gonna give you some hope today.
That's what we need. A
Yeah,
road to
That's
hope.
that's what the audience needs after listening to us.
yeah.
Penny, plug your show.
It's a perfect
Plug
setup.
my show. My
Plug your
show
show.
is Nachtwaffen Pilot with Penny Bradley. It's Saturdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific. I believe that's 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's right here on Global Enlightenment Radio Network.
Okay.
And I am Ramona Scott, speaking her truth on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. And if you like the show, you know, give me a like. And we shall see you next Saturday when I have a special guest, Stephen Myers, who will be discussing the construction of the pyramids and his theory and how we can use that um, procedure to enhance our lives today. So until then, where's the love, people?
It's
Where's the
gone.
love?